You're listening to another episode of Not Another Podcast by the Esports Social Club. Gentlemen, it is good to be back. I am joined by Sean Ball Carlson, Geordie McAleer, and of course Ian Sniper Turner, who is sitting some distance from us. I think something's happened in the last few weeks where he's wanted to draw some distance from us, which is totally understandable, by the way. Feel free to jump in whenever.
I felt him up on the couch one too many times and he just wasn't appreciating it, and now he's moved away.
Understandable.
I figured we weren't recording. So
I got my corner back.
We could all just sit comfortably.
It's true. It's true. We've opted for no camera this week, which may disappoint our YouTube viewer,
Pilly.
But I understand anyway. He's got his hands full.
He does.
Palming off pimps in the club.
I heard about that one.
Yeah, we'll get into that one a little bit later. We'll get into that one a little bit later. But gentlemen, we've been on somewhat of a hiatus, and it seems like the world of esports, at least in Australia and OCE, has somewhat exploded around us.
She got fierce.
I feel like it's just another day though, right? Like,
yeah.
Just
it's content that we've missed out on in some degree.
Yeah.
It's because the enforcer wasn't here. He was over in the States.
yeah.
Esports went full Mother Nature on us.
True. TJ wasn't here.
Okay.
He is a unit.
He's a unit.
He is. Especially when he's on the sugarcane champagnes. But who isn't?
Oh,
10 foot tall.
He wasn't
bullet.
able to drink in the States.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's too young.
He's too young.
True.
He's a young gun.
You guys went by the law.
We tried.
Oh,
I have no
comment.
part in this.
Absolutely no comment.
I'm waiting for
Right,
Sean to be like,
nothing.
we try.
Nope.
Ian's so good at entrapment.
We're very responsible.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway, with OCE seemingly bursting into a ball of flames around us over the last few weeks, by the way, having no camera is everyone's so relaxed. I can see hands on heads, feet up, like different poses. This is going to be a more relaxed podcast. I quite like this actually, and I think it's going to maybe get more out of some people, less out of some people.
Maybe this is what we've been missing the whole time.
I'm still dying, y'all. Like, I don't know if y'all know, but I came back from the States with like the plague.
You should be quarantined.
I'm sitting. I should be. I shouldn't even be sitting on this couch right now. Apologies to those out there who can hear it in my voice. It's not happy days for me
It's
right
all right.
now.
At least I don't have to
Take
see.
one deep breath for me, Sean.
No, go away. Continue.
I could hear him breathing as he walked down the stairs
Yeah.
when you guys, before you got home.
Labouring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, as the world continues to burn around us, we digress. And as we said, we've been around the traps now.
We've had to watch it burn because
We have.
people have asked for their moral compass. We haven't been here, but they keep asking about us because we live in.
That's true. We're living rent free. While prices around us are going up, we're still living rent free. But
It's all about that big buck.
it is. Some of us out here trying to make the big buck, Sean. I don't know if you knew that.
I recently come into some.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
Where'd you find that?
Wow.
You know,
Challenger. A challenger appears.
Can't really talk about it because just I have numerous sources of income. And,
Okay. And outcome.
And well,
Apparently not.
That's the
I
same
don't think I
outcome.
need to talk about this anymore because the law might come after me because I'm obviously doing something.
Oh,
dodgy.
you 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll be waiting.
I heard something about consumer affairs.
Oh my god! Don't make me laugh when I drink my tea.
All right. Back on track.
Just wait. Yeah, we'll subpoena that
Dying
later.
over here.
Yeah, let's repeat that.
Either way, well,
Special victims.
we have digressed so hard.
We need that drum, like boom, boom.
We do. Now, there we go. Beautiful. I was away in Queensland and then in China for Extremes Land. Beautiful. Shanghai is absolutely beautiful.
Weird flex.
It's
Okay.
well, okay. I lie completely. It's not super like picturesque and beautiful, but it's one of the older cities
It's
in
nice.
China.
It is nice,
And-
especially this time of year.
It is, yeah. In temperature wise, it was great. Extremes Land, obviously,
Great.
to be part of that event was excellent. An honour to be overseas, and I think, I think the Australian teams being called up last minute, Ground Zero and Genuine had it like they had a lot up against them. Not only time to get visas, time to get passports, whatever it was. They made some good inroads, I think, as teams. Obviously, whilst Genuine not staying with Genuine post Extreme Sand and,
that's right. That happened.
and whatnot. Yeah, we really have had our heads out of the game.
I was
Yeah.
literally going to ask you, Mac, you know where they're going, but clearly I don't think you have any fucking idea.
No, I think
even know
the
they
smart option would be Paradox.
Paradox.
Yeah.
Were they
I don't
getting-
know who else would really be looking.
Is Genuine pulling out of esports, or what's the deal there? Why
No, they're just probably focusing on FGC stuff.
No.
They got
I haven't
really,
spoken
really
to
good
them.
FGC players.
Were they, I don't know if you know this, were they getting paid under Genuine?
I don't know if they were. I think they were trying for a while to get paid, and because they weren't winning anything,
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Oh,
there was,
who would have thought?
yeah. That's all I remember from what I've heard on the grapevine.
that's
I don't
just
know
the way
how
it is.
accurate it is, obviously, but
Do you think that's why they've left, or they've sort of parted way with Genuine as they are sort of chasing a bit of compensation for their?
maybe.
for
I
their
don't know.
team?
I know Royce is loaded. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, cool,
But-
nice.
Royce
But,
the 5'9".
He was pretty loaded when I smashed him on labs.
Ahoy!
Yesterday.
Did you actually?
Wait, hold on.
Level 46, picked up that dog
The
tag, and then
P90.
it did say that Sean killed him.
Yeah,
but it was
definitely
my
was.
grenade that put the pressure on him to grenade himself.
You know what? I actually think he was dead. I think he's pulled the grenade and died, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he's
Okay.
collapsed.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How'd you know it was Royce? Was it his
Dog tag.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I don't know where Genuine's headed, but in terms of Extremes Land,
Great experience for them.
great experience for them as players.
As young up and comers, most of
And
them.
obviously with, them being sort of outside of the top four, having limited opportunity to go overseas, having an opportunity like that presented to them, they did themselves a world of good by embracing it fully and playing to their potential. I'm keen to see because all of them are young players.
Where did they
and-
place?
Well, they didn't place inside the
I don't think
the
they
top
made it
12.
out of groups, did
They
they?
didn't have
No,
APOC.
none of them made, they haven't made them out of the
Right.
groups. They had
That
to
was
play
the
with
main
Oxy.
He's a pretty powerful player. For them.
Yes, APOC Data's
Yeah.
been one of their better players in recent times.
How did
For Genuine.
you
And
see
also
them?
their RGO.
Ground Zero, they had tough opposition. I mean, to be fair, like so did Genuine. Genuine had to play Tyloo in the first game.
Yeah.
So it's a very rough introduction to Asian CS.
Tyloo had a banging tournament.
Oh, that's
They
right.
did.
Yeah.
And it's Tyloo in China, which is a thing.
Tyloo in China,
Yeah.
it's a thing. They ended up winning that tournament. So, having to play them in good form, which is, it's just rare, but like.
And it
given
wasn't
the level
just
of
where
competition-
smashing Southeast Asia. They went on to do well in the CAC as well.
Yeah, they actually did some damage
Yeah.
in the next tournament in Shanghai, which was the CAC, which
Can't-
is
can't
quite
help-
scary.
Can't help think that, Order and Grounds probably could have done some damage there.
I actually think going into that tournament, like looking at the way that both Tyler and Vici were playing, Vici really ran out of steam in the final. They played so solidly in the lead up. They were the better team.
They won.
They were looking like the better team.
They beat Tyloo earlier in the tournament, didn't they? I believe they did.
they didn't come up against each other.
You sure?
Yeah.
Where am I getting that from? I feel like they beat Tyloo.
No, that was Bren. Bren took a map.
Bren beat Tyloo.
Yeah, it took a map off Tyler. Made things
Bren's
really
the
interesting.
Indo team, right?
Yeah, Bren's beaten Greyhounds before on a map.
Bren was Philo.
Philippines, right? Yeah.
Is Vici rebranded in CS as well? Is it VC now? Like, is that there?
They were VC.
So they were Cyberzen.
Yeah.
Now they're just VG.
They're-
Now they're
Vici.
just, and their tag
VC
is like
gaming.
VC. Yeah, VC gaming. Because obviously,
But it's easier to say Vici,
of course.
and then
yeah.
VG is like the way it rolls off the
I
tongue.
got called out with that in over at PUBG in
Yeah.
the States because Vici were there. It was VC, this Chinese team from Vic, and I'm like, is that Vici? I had to ask someone, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
who's this guy? Doesn't know what he's
Yeah,
talking
because
about.
they tag, funnily enough, in PUBG,
Yeah.
the tag is VC.
Yeah.
In CS, the tag is VG.
Right.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah. That's how you could probably get caught out,
Yeah,
I'd
definitely
imagine.
caught me out.
Because PUBG has really good integration of clan tags and
Yeah.
organization branding in the game where CS doesn't.
Yeah.
But as I said, digress. Extreme Zone was cool. Good opportunity for Australian talent as well to spread their wings a little bit. And then coming back to an awful schedule. And now I'm fun employed, which is great.
Unemployed.
Yeah. So much fun. So
Also,
much fun.
Pour one out for GFin.
Pour one out for GFin.
yeah, I heard you were looking to start up a Fortnite team. So if anyone's looking for a Fortnite
Yep.
org,
Yep.
contact
Yep.
Jim.
Yeah.
I believe the approach.
Actually, there's some big buck behind it as well.
There
Like
is.
if you're a player out there and you want to, you really want to take your Fortnite game to the next level,
Mhm.
please reach out to Jim as soon as
Please
possible.
do.
At Deep Impact on
yeah.
Twitter.
At Deep Impact on Twitter. My approach to business in the Fortnite world is just build. Just build and they will
Yeah,
come.
Build and they will come.
That is pretty much where I'm going with that. Sean, you spent some time in the United States, the home of freedom.
I did. I spent 3 whole weeks there, Jim. Spent some time in LA and then in San Fran and Oakland.
You got to catch a pretty big PUBG event, I believe.
I did, the PGC. A couple of Australian teams went across. Didn't quite perform as well as
Shit
they
the
would
bed.
have liked. Yeah, well, I mean, look, Atletico really dropped the ball there, considering they were ranked 3rd in the world heading into that tournament, even with the change of Luke 12 not being there anymore. I know they were having some internal issues in the way that they were practicing and preparing for the event, so they didn't quite show their best form going in. And given the way the format was, you literally had 12 matches.
So many chances.
Dude,
Yeah,
they
it
played
was-
so much PUBG. It was like every morning I got up and PUBG was on still.
But
Like,
usually these tournaments are over 20 games or 18 games or whatever each stage. This was over 12, and they had 2 rounds of Sandhawk in there, which is a very random map. Like obviously there's a lot of RNG in PUBG, but Sandhawk takes that to another level.
I mean, there's RNG in PUBG, but there's also South Korea in PUBG.
There is.
And they're just like
South Koreans were crazy. Even look, 4am as well. Chinese team, phenomenal.
4am
they were
amazing.
really strong.
Dude, these Asian teams, they're gonna crack it, man.
Well, it's huge over there. If you look, so obviously PUBG had a system sort of similar to CSGO or Dota, where like the community can put money towards the prize pool by sort of picking and backing in their team and things like that. And I'm pretty sure the Chinese team 4am ended up with like an extra $1.2 or $1.4 million just on them alone. To put that in perspective, Vendetta, the Australian team,
less angry men.
Yeah, Vendetta, the Australian team, only had $1,200 that they managed to raise through that same system.
Yeah, right.
So we're
that's a branding thing, and also like a population,
100%.
Yeah.
And but I mean, even at the venue where the finals were, half,
In
if
China.
not more, no, in Oakland.
Oh, you know,
in Oakland, half, if not more, of the crowd were people from China.
That's
who were
cool.
flown across and were cheering for 4am, and it was pretty.
I've
pretty
got to
surreal.
wonder. I've got a conspiracy theory about that. I've got a conspiracy theory, not conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
wow, what the
whoa,
hell?
whoa.
Chemtrails in Oakland
Whoa.
make Chinese teams better. No, I've got a theory that these Asian teams like China and Korea, with their conscription, like I feel like, and Thailand and whatever else, like if you come back from doing time in the military and then you come play this FPS game that's like got enfilade and defilade and covering fire and all this stuff. Like, I think that's like a huge advantage for them. I'd be very interested to see like how many people have done service.
It's funny.
It's an interesting point. I
Because
actually
that's how like South Korea CS died. Because like
they're all too young by the time they get good at CS, and then they have to go compulsory military
they
service.
finish their uni and then they can't play CS anymore, and then they come back and they're like Solo's age.
Yeah.
They're literally like that. So
It's the same, to be honest, with Singapore. Singapore have the same system.
Singapore.
And Finland used to. I don't know anymore. I feel as though
I
that
feel like
got
there's
waived.
some way they got around it, because that's
Yeah.
what happened to the 1.6 Finnish guys.
Yeah, there was a lot of Finnish players that were really good. And I don't think that is the case anymore because
Finland was a heartbreak. I
Yeah.
was a huge fan of Finland in 1.6, and they were just individually like
brilliant. They were
on
individually brilliant.
top. Like Counter-Strike, one of the hardest things to do was aim. So there was teams that were good because they were good teams.
Yeah.
Finnish teams were good because everyone would just be a crack shot.
Yeah.
And they never worked together. It was, you never saw them work
Yeah,
together.
it's just like CGA, right?
So, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But sharper. And no
you could-
egos.
yeah, and
'cause
so
everyone's angry.
It was
There you
really easy to be a big fan of like the individuals, like Lurpus, Natu, Nasu, all those
go.
guys.
Yeah. Spike One.
Spike One, Tompa, like
Yeah.
the list goes on. Conti,
Coley.
yeah. So they just never ever amounted to anything.
Barrack.
We as a region, if you were to look at different esports titles, we actually have some really strong PUBG players though. We
Luke
have
12?
players. Luke 12 is one that comes to mind.
Is he free now?
Well, we can talk about that soon. We'll get into that. Luke 12 is one, but then we've got like players like Linksy. We've got Neff over in, I think he's in Malaysia at the moment.
Neff Ahor?
Absolutely killing it over there. Like he had a bit of a break. He had some kind of medical thing. I don't know exactly what happened there. Came back and he's just destroying everybody.
Yeah, probably got like implants.
All the stats are going crazy. He's doing really
PUBG
well.
Mobile.
You've even got like some of the players like Tiggleton, who's doing a lot of streaming stuff. Got dubbed the new Shroud. in some
I've
little
never heard
Reddit
of him,
thing.
so I watch his space.
That's fine, but like
you got to link me his stream when you can.
watch his space.
I'm the judge of all talent.
He's
Is that the dude with those crazy shots where he drives the cars off, jumps in the back seat, and gets
does all sorts of crazy
So it's that
stuff.
guy.
Yeah,
I've seen clips of him.
Oh, okay, Max.
So so in that sense, though, we have a lot of
And Zoid?
presence. We have a lot of Zoids are phenomenal.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
why didn't you mention Zoid?
Well, I was going to get to.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Sean, continue.
There's
Yeah,
a
but I
hook-
mean,
there's a hook to
I
the
was
story.
more talking about the players that are currently sort of off the shores. Zoid's still here in Australia.
okay.
I don't know for how much longer, but he's still around
Ooh.
because he's phenomenal. He will
Dropping
fit in
knowledge
at any team.
Mhm.
So it's interesting for me. So even at the event, we have a pretty big Australian contingent, whether they're playing or whether they're just there spectating or a part of sort of the community. That was good to see. As far as PUBG goes at the moment, the Koreans as a region are definitely number one right now. We had Gen G win PGC.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been number one for a while, right? The only reason they didn't win those other tournaments, like Liquid and FaZe were dominating, because they weren't there.
Genuine Gaming won PGC.
No, the other GG.
Oh, so
Gen G.
Gen
G.
Gen G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the whole time, every time I heard
that's
someone
not-
say Gen G,
All
I
those
was
fake
thinking genuine.
pure blondes going to max ears.
Yeah.
Look,
Bang
there's
his head-
things that we
bang
don't
your
bring
head on
up
the
because
Gen
this is going
Z.
to come out in a couple of days, and Jess might have forgotten about it by then.
Bang your head on the door and lose your hearing.
But I'm going to bring it back
Didn't mean
while
to.
you all. But on that though, there was I don't know. Did you guys watch much of the PGC?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I must say, being in the stadium and some of the stuff that went down, I've been to a lot of different esports events now. It was a sick atmosphere.
Yeah.
Watching, there was, some the FaZe Sunday thing that's now become FaZe as a team almost didn't make the finals. They were coming last in the semifinals going into the last match.
Yeah.
And had an 18 kill win, which got them just over the line. They ended up finishing second overall, doing the same thing they did in the semifinals.
That's what
and finals.
Astralis did last time.
which is-
They do
Astralis,
really good at Monopoly.
Atletico. That's what
Playing
Atletico
to
did.
get out.
Just a really good
Sprint home.
FaZe Sunday, sprint home.
Yeah.
4 a.m. as well, super aggressive. They ended up finishing third. It's a Chinese team. They could have won it. Any one of those three teams could have won it going into the last game, which was
What was I saying? I was saying
pretty
something. Oh, shit.
4 AM stands for 4 Angry Men.
Yeah.
I found that out. I'd known 4 AM for ages as a team because obviously they came over for Zemo.
yeah.
But I didn't know it stood for 4 Angry Men.
Yeah, 4 Angry Men.
I love them even
I
more
like
now.
that.
I can relate.
What about the fireworks and stuff?
Oh, look, production was phenomenal.
Yeah, it didn't. It seemed.
Augmented reality.
It looked real bad on camera, to be honest.
Did it? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. In the stadium, it
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah.
You got a real good feel. They had the big screens. I mean, even the semifinals and stuff. We were at a proper the OGN studios in LA. It was having been involved in a bunch of different sort of productions and events now. It was top notch. You just being there, you knew it was top notch. Players were looked after.
Yeah.
Viewers were looked after. Even the seating was super
The
comfortable.
scale of that event is just insane. The amount of games, the amount of players, the amount of teams. It's just unreal. that
Oh,
they can do
absolutely.
it.
And I mean, the format though was unforgiving. So there were teams that didn't make it, like
You reckon?
Atletico.
I reckon it was
didn't
just
make
grueling.
it. Team Liquid didn't make it.
I don't know about unforgiving. I feel like it's just people didn't turn up because
No, it's definitely unforgiving.
there's the 4 groups,
Yeah.
and then every group versus every group. So it was there was 2 groups in one game.
No. That was only for semis. You got the group stage first to start with.
Yeah.
You were separated. There were 2 groups.
Yes.
You had 12 matches
Yes.
to qualify or not.
So far gone with what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. But of those 12 matches, 2 were Sandhawk. You only got to play 6.
Yeah, but it was Group A versus Group D, Group B versus Group C. Then it was Group A versus Group B, Group C versus
then
Group
there was
D.
3 groups for the semis.
But that was just there was a lot of opportunity there, and it was a very fair way. I don't think it was unforgiving.
I think from a viewer's perspective
Yeah.
and the way the storylines played out, it's almost how it has to be. So I'm not saying it's, but it's
but it was a shock to see the big names get cucked in the groups.
100%. Yeah. And I think, the players would love to have at least 20 matches, right, to really settle this out. But that's, as we know, it was the same with League of Legends, right?
Bro, it's like Counter-Strike. I got 2 maps at a major.
Like, well, even League of Legends here in Australia, and I think even globally as well, it went from like best of 5 series to like you were playing best of 1s, like over 2 nights, right? Better for the viewers. The players didn't like it as much, but they have to understand that it's it's a spectator sport as well, right? People need to be able to watch it, right? So otherwise, you're just playing games.
If
it's
I know.
Get out of here. What, the people that tune in, the potential like money mill that is the audience. Would it be that people would, I don't know, off the back of this, tune in? Bigger audiences mean more media right potential sales.
Unbelievable.
Put a pin in it. Think about it. Continue, Sean.
But yeah, so in that sense, I think it was like if you ask the players, it was a little bit unforgiving. You had to be flawless, right?
Oh, geez.
And if you weren't, then you got knocked out. So a couple of big teams like Atletico didn't get through. Team Liquid didn't get through. Which was, obviously quite shocking. They've been right up the top for quite a while now. But, it was definitely the Koreans as a region, phenomenal. 4 Angry Men, having the huge Chinese crowd there was really exciting. The fact that it went into the last game with three teams potentially being able to win it all made it, a really good sort of spectacle.
Yeah, it doesn't usually happen.
Yeah, but that's because of this format. That's because of the short. That's
because
format.
one team's always so much better than everyone else.
No, it's not just that, Ian. I'm telling you, it's because of the fact that there's 12 games as opposed to 20 or 40.
But to be honest, the number of games, I don't think that's such a big deal. I think it's more the maps.
Potentially, yeah, that's fair.
I think throwing in all those, as soon as they started doing Miramar and then they threw in Sandhawk, it's just like, okay, now you're really throwing a spanner in the works because there's no way you can be good at all 3 maps.
It also goes to the fact that because there is only 12, right, that's how we got to see situations where teams like FaZe could be in last place going into the final map of the thing, and they do one big game where they get 18 kills and a win, and boom, they qualify through.
That's 28 points.
28 points. Yeah. So that just sort of throws a spanner in the works. Atletico was heartbreak. They missed out by 1 point, I think it was.
Yeah, they kept coming last.
They dropped the ball in a few games, whatever. Yeah. Right, it happened. It's rough for them, but that's what it came down to. It came down to 1 point.
I think if you come last, you shouldn't qualify. It's just my thoughts.
Well, they didn't come last.
Well, I mean, like, they came last in a lot of games. They came 15th and 16th. So.
I think it was 2 games they did that, or 3 out of the 12.
That was in the elimination group.
Yeah, just no points. What was in group stage? Because they didn't get past group stage.
So was there not a group stage, and then like the bottom 8 went into like this group stage of their own?
No.
What was that?
So there was group stage.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. There was a second chance.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, cool. That's what I was talking about the whole time. I was like, yeah, man, they had plenty of chances, and they even screwed up the second chance. Gen G was in there. They didn't screw up.
No.
They got straight through.
FaZe made the semis and almost screwed that.
Liquid did screw it up.
Liquid.
They were in there with Atletico.
Yep. To be fair, Vendetta in the initial group stage did really well.
They had a tough group.
They finished 4th or 5th in their group originally. They kind of dropped the ball a bit going into the next stage, into the semis. They weren't, I mean, look, I don't know how much expectation there was for them to perform at that level. I think that they performed really well. If you ask them, they feel like they kind of dropped the ball on a few of those things. They're the team that didn't
crack either, and they went made it overseas.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got Crit, who's a streamer. Let's be real. Like, he's a successful streamer.
It's like the ex-Chiefs roster, to be honest.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
It's Edge and Crit and 2 other guys.
So I actually think they did quite well. They're obviously a little bit disappointed they didn't make it to the main stage, but they did the region.
Next time, man! Like every time they go over, they're just getting more experience.
So overall, though, the event was from a viewer's perspective was really good.
What would you rather see, Sean? Would you rather see one crack hot Aussie team with like Luke 12, Zoid, Extreme 2G, like all these guys who've gone Nefahor? Would you like to see that as one crack team, one crack commando unit, the A team, Team Australia? Or would you rather see everyone just going off into like NA or whatever, doing their own thing?
Personally, I'd much rather see a crack Aussie team.
Yeah.
I think so look, we'll segue into the next section. Luke 12, we spoke about him and going to Lazarus in a previous podcast. Yeah, well, sorry guys.
Maybe if you expanded your horizon out of another esport instead of just Counter-Strike and Rocket League.
Anyways, before we get too deep into that, we spoke about Luke 12 going to Lazarus. He got the big opportunity to go to NA. And as of today, Lazarus have pulled the pin on their PUBG team. So
no way. This is the Lazarus team that came in and like basically bulldozed their way through an Australian org to get a player.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I've now pulled the pin. Now, see, the sad thing is, Atletico with Luke 12, given what he brought to that team, is
they pulled the pin on the CS team too, didn't they?
Yeah, but they didn't give anything to the CS team.
Oh, okay.
So
empty promises.
Didn't they get a Fortnite player $3 million or something? So
if
No, it
I'm
wasn't Lazarus.
if I'm Luke 12, or if you look at it from the outside perspective, given the amount of prize pool that was on the line for this event, and given how well that team had performed when Luke was in it, I'm sure he's kicking himself now, because instead of getting that long-term salary NA or kind of situation that's been pulled out from underneath him, they didn't perform well in the finals either. They made it to the main stage, but I'm pretty sure they came 14th.
Yeah,
or 15th.
they were real bad.
Luke individually played okay at times, showed moments of being, the sort of superstar that we know. But I think that is a bit of a sad story, right? The fact that...
Well, it's not over yet. But it's a shit,
it's not over yet,
chapter.
But it's a shit chapter, you're right, based on how it sort of all played out. But that's obviously, like you said, I would much rather see... Because, I mean, look what happened at GLL when the Atletico team came second at a big international event.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what esport title you followed, everyone got behind that. Everyone was super excited to see an Australian team at a big international event
doing shit.
Almost win it.
The region
right?
watches.
The region gets behind it. So
we need a hero.
Yeah, we do.
We've had renegades all this time. We need a hero.
What, who? 100 Thieves.
But it's a big gamble for these players.
Have they done anything?
Right?
No, I'm just kidding. No, but like it would be nice. But the thing is, it's going to take someone to fund that, isn't it? Because if you've got everyone getting pilfered by these big NA marketed orgs, then we're going to have something in Australia.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, to gamble for the players. Like, you can either chase the overseas salary and
chase the dollar, or go for the Aussie pride.
But it's not even Aussie pride. If let's just say Luke had stayed and Atletico placed top 6 or something like that, the amount of prize pool they would have got would have been, ample compensation compared to a potential 12-month salary with an NA team.
Yeah.
Right? So but that's a gamble.
Nothing really stops Luke from coming back to Atletico, does it?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like, what's next for PUBG?
Yeah, that's
the next question.
That's the big question as well.
What's next for PUBG?
All these uncertain esports.
Yeah, so
it's the same. It's like them, Overwatch. All I hear is like, but I don't know if there's going to be like a next whatever of this or that.
That. Then you got League of Legends.
Well, I was going to say...
That's an early segue.
Speaking of segues.
Boy,
oh, hey, Jim's here.
Hey, look, there's another... I'm over here waving. There's no camera to wave to.
Everyone's hosting.
Yeah, okay.
So I didn't even tell anyone what I was up to.
No, I was going to say, we haven't heard from Mac. You've been overseas as well.
Yeah.
You've run into the other 100 thieves.
Yeah, the other 100 thieves that are over in New Zealand. They stole all my clothes, left me undieless. They've got me dirty undies.
They took your undies?
They took me dirty undies. They took Jess's undies as well.
That's ruthless.
They just took my full duffel bag, expecting there to be, I don't know, Gucci in it or something, but it was just my like shit clothes or normal clothes, I guess.
We've finally been able to pilfer from one of those esport guys. All they wear is Gucci.
And then all the expensive stuff that was in the one bag.
Like the bathwater and stuff.
Yeah, the bathwater. I took my bathwater over there. Had that bottled.
How dare they?
It was great. No, but then they stole Jess's passport, so we were stranded there for the weekend. Because they stole it at like 6 p.m, which was an hour after the embassy closed on a Friday.
Yeah, they know what's up.
And then we got told on the Monday that we could have potentially gone back to Australia, but apparently that is only if you're flying with Virgin and Qantas. You can get out of the country for whatever reason as an emergency thing. But I was happy to stay there just to quickly, browse Facebook and hope that I could track him down like I did last time.
Because you're a bloody detective.
Yeah. Couldn't find anything there.
Never region lock this man.
Yeah.
He'll find you.
Yeah.
And
no, the Kiwis find him.
Well, true. Well, it's seemingly you are like a magnet for criminals, Mac.
Oh, yeah. Somehow. I don't know.
But the community got behind you pretty well, actually.
Yeah, they did. Lots of money was raised by the esports community. I think Ian donated some of the Instafrag money in there as well at some point. No, that was really we were really glad that Instafrag helped us out. And other than that, big thanks to Dex as well for he reached out straight away and was like, I want you've had a shit year. I want to do something. I'll make a GoFundMe or whatever. And I was like, initially like, oh, nah, don't. Like, I usually don't like taking charity, Pride, etc. But then I was like, no, this has been a really fucking shit year.
Someone's stolen shit twice.
Yeah.
Like someone has invaded your space and taken your shit twice.
You feel violated.
I've been very lucky. Like, I haven't had anything stolen off me since...
Well, I hope not, because
since primary school.
Yeah, like that'd be really unfortunate if that was to happen here.
The main reason I'm annoyed, though, the thing that they took was my like Canon 5D, which I've had for like almost 6 whole years. Or I think I had it just for 6 years when they stole it, but it was the last thing that my nan bought me before she passed away. So I named it after her as well. Olga's gone.
Oh no,
that's it.
What a name.
That sucks. Yeah. That actually. Well,
yeah. For the record, that was not instant frag.
But other than that, no, it wasn't. That was a joke. It was a terrible joke.
There isn't anyway.
Exactly. And New Zealand was a beautiful place, by the way. We just literally got a camper van.
Yeah,
and
it's a great place.
Just like cool. Jess had a couple of ideas of where she roughly wanted to go, and then I was like, oh, cool. Just fucking drive here to Rotorua. Well, let's drive to Taupo, whatever it's called, and then
don't even try and pronounce them. You'll just anger people.
Yeah, on the way. And then we went to Mordor, went to Hobbiton, went to the Blue Lakes in the middle of nowhere, which was really beautiful.
Is this before everything got stolen?
Yeah. This is the good part.
So did you have those photos backed up to cloud or anything like that?
All the photos I took on my phone. I didn't even use the camera.
That seems a little odd. But okay.
Yeah, because there's only the 50 mil on the camera.
Content, dude. We've been sending people overseas to make content, and none of us made any content.
Yeah, so Jess lost all of her PAX content, all of the Ground Zero Rocket League content that she was initially over there to film anyway. So really? So the whole reason she went over was lost with the camera.
Oh man, those balls.
Yeah.
There's an entire episode of Australian content lost.
Iceman as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Iceman. Big shout out to him.
Big came in and
Conky bloody big
came in
charity
over the top.
stream too.
Came in over the top.
Yeah.
If only
wasn't impressed with that.
If only we could pick
Ian's pride was hurt. Yeah.
Oh no.
But it will help to get my stuff back as well.
Yeah.
Pay all the excesses. Still pending on whether we're getting whatever back from insurances. Covered everything though, so that was very fortunate.
Fake pure blondes.
Yeah. A couple of beers I had to drink my sorrows away at one point. That happened.
The segue was actually going to be Aussie talent overseas, and we weren't talking about ourselves. We were actually talking about the fact that Xenox obviously representing OC at the PUBG event.
Yeah,
you got to hear him live in Stadium, Sean.
Yeah, look, spent a fair bit of time with Xenox. Yep. We
were casting, we're Chromecasting it on our TV in the lounge room here, and from what we heard, he put on a pretty good performance. I think it's safe to say that he grew into the tournament as well.
Yeah, he come finals, he absolutely killed it.
Yeah,
he did really well and should be really proud of what he was able to do. I think he sort of secured himself as one of the tier 1 talents for PUBG now on an international level. So
that's where you want to be.
I think he did a really good job. And
I observed for that guy.
Big credit to
be honest, he hasn't grinded as hard as everyone else, and he's made it. So good on him. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like he's grinded.
You need
Don't
the
get
chance,
me wrong.
though. Like you got.
You do. Taking the opportunities.
You do, but he's killed it. He's done it very quickly compared to some other people
in multiple games too. Don't forget he does Overwatch.
He does Fortnite. He does anything, man. He did the grind. He did the esports grind.
I feel like PUBG was a big risk to decide to cast though, because it was very unforeseen where
there wasn't a roadmap.
PUBG was going.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you already liked PUBG, then it wasn't really a risk. Like, I think I even did a PUBG tournament.
Oh, of course.
Because you were there a year ago.
Yeah, it was just like, well, I mean, I like PUBG. I like to play PUBG. I was half decent. So I thought, this would be good to watch, like see how the pros do it.
Yep.
And so I guess maybe he went into it like that as well. I wasn't expecting to be a tier 1 caster at an international event. But look at him now.
Yeah, killing it.
What we need is an Aussie on the analyst desk, because that PUBG analyst...
He's a really good dude too. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, yeah.
He's real nice.
He goes all right.
That can't be said for all of, the
especially
talent.
In the talent game.
Yeah, it can't be said of all the talent that I've run into.
Real shit people in that.
But he is a top bloke. So shout out to Xenox, mate. Well deserved.
One of the good guys. Anyway, as I was going to say, now we need an Aussie on the analyst desk for PUBG, because that analyst desk just kills me. I hope they're listening.
They're probably not. Let's be real. But that obviously not just casting talent overseas as well. There's been some recent instances of players being picked up by overseas orgs. Now, we touched on the PUBG side of things.
Yep.
But I believe that's even starting to stem into League of Legends as well.
We also Dota as well.
And Dota as well. But some of that's on the horizon too, I believe.
Well, Zemistry, an Australian player, mid laner from Australia. He's playing for SKT1. So that's pretty exciting. We've got a few league players that have sort of been picked up for opportunities overseas. One of them would be Ryoma. He's in the starting roster for 100 Thieves for their League of Legends team. So huge credit to him. He's obviously, there's a tweet that came out. I think a few, American fans are like, who's this guy? What's going on?
What is a Ryoma?
The org came out and said, look, he ticks all the boxes, right? Yeah. So big shout out to him. Well, Schoenfire as well, which I think if you follow League, you'd be familiar with his name.
When he's not banned.
When he's not banned, he's been touted as one of the best talents to ever come out of our region. He has been shadow banned, right, for a period there, which was when he was basically told not to play because he got a little bit too aggro on some of the Korean servers while he was playing and things like that. However,
he's a true blue Aussie.
Yeah, well, he's been picked up by Team Liquid, which is a huge player in the league space. But he's in their, I guess, what you call their academy team.
He's in the shadow team.
Yeah, but he has a real opportunity if he plays to the standard that we know he can play to, that potentially he can fight his way into the main roster. It's going to be real hard, but simply just being in the Team Liquid environment for him is a massive step forward.
That'll be good.
That's some exciting stuff.
How many of these guys won OPL?
Yes.
Yep.
All of them?
All of them at one point or another have won OPL. Both of them.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, Schoenfire was with that Direwolves line.
Like as if it's some sort of prerequisite, It's like, well, you could be good without coming first. But just an interesting question.
A lot of these players have been playing in the OPL for quite a while here, right? So they cycle through different teams.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong.
Get opportunities to win the OPL.
Anyway, that's mad. I hope they'll do really well.
What have you done to your voice?
Even though it's a trash game.
What have you done to your voice?
I'm laying on the floor. And some blood might be rushing to my head. But you know what? The painkillers are dealing with it.
So, I don't know if you guys could hear the random microphone sounds that were happening while
I'm sorry.
Sean was talking. I'll fix it as best I can, but just so you know, Ian has been rolling around on the floor.
Give us that high pass filter.
Yeah. Hope for the best.
How bad has it changed?
Huh?
Has my voice actually changed?
No.
Good.
You're good enough.
Just denoise it will be fine.
Yeah.
Mac, I think. I hope.
Yeah.
Is it because I'm close to that noisy bastard?
No. It's because you're literally moving the microphone.
You're rolling around on it.
No. It's because they're like slipping off my head as you'd be.
Well, they're not designed to be
lying on the floor.
Yeah, you're not designed to lie down in this.
Look, I got enough shit going on. Okay, just let me have this. I'm lying on the floor for the podcast.
All right.
Oh.
Damn, if only we had video for the podcast, you guys could have seen that kerfuffle.
Sean's just like taking it. Fuck this set.
He's having a tantrum.
Fuck this set, man. Ian's on the floor. Like, fuck this. I'm going to hit shit on the set.
Sean's just punched a wooden man on our set. I'll take a photo of it later.
Yes, that happened.
I hate this Team Liquid Honda. Look, it just hits it.
Yeah. We're kind enough to get a Team Liquid Honda, and you just punched a wooden man in protest. Anyway, Aussie talent overseas is becoming more prevalent. Obviously, that is a conversation that we've touched on a few times. In that, why haven't we had such success when all these talent are combined with one another in OCE?
Yeah.
But obviously, talking more league now and having OCE representation. Are we going to see the same level of talent coming out of OCE, knowing that some of the changes for the OPL are on the horizon? When I'm talking changes, I'm talking more specifically the fact that Riot has pulled back their support of player salaries and also in the same breath removed the expected minimum that players are going to be paid if they're to be part of OPL organisations. So that is the latest out of Riot OCE, in that obviously for the
I think
organisation.
we've been
involved.
hinting at this for a while, haven't we? Really?
We have.
We've
but
known about this for a little while.
the players were informed a while ago.
October.
Actually, October 23rd, I think, is the official date that they were informed. But we've sort of always questioned whether or not it was sustainable for a league that seemingly had not very much sponsorship integration or seemingly was having difficulty in that space. We know that obviously there's a lot of money being fronted by Riot OC to keep that, I wouldn't call it a money fountain, but keeping players paid and remunerated for their time spent on League of Legends. That's disappeared now. That's gone.
They had it pretty good, man.
Yeah, look, there's now like
They're living in charmed life.
They had it too good, actually, to be honest. For what the achievements that they were achieving, they were all getting it pretty too good. Like, they were getting their stipend from Riot, and then they were getting their salary from their orgs and making bulk cash that made a CS player cry. Like, and achieving nothing.
I think, there's some exceptions to this as well, but I think a lot of, a pretty big problem comes in with League of Legends in the sense that Riot was putting so much money towards this that the players were very reliant on that and then weren't going out of their way to build League of Legends here or amongst the orgs or help commercialize. And you end up in a situation, I've spoken to many of the different content creators from different orgs, and when it comes to League of Legends players, often they don't want to put in the effort required to help commercialize and build brands for themselves and for the org as well.
They don't even want to put the rubbish in the bin.
So now we're in a situation. Where Riot is not providing any support anymore. It comes back to the orgs. The orgs, these players have become so comfortable with a certain expectation of how things should be that I think we're going to see a lot of players retire. We are going to see a lot of orgs not put in any kind of support that used to be there.
The gravy train ran out.
The rumors are that, to be fair, I also, you have to put a bit of blame on Riot as well. They didn't commercialize their product very well. And they haven't commercialized their product very well for quite a long time here in OCE.
Isn't that what people said about Gfinity?
Well, I'm not sure.
What did people say about Gfinity?
They didn't commercialize their product on that?
I'm pretty sure Gfinity had some of the biggest commercialization sponsorships of any of the TOs at the time. Whereas at Riot, we're not really seeing much of that at all.
I think on the flip
little
side
victories.
of that, just to touch on that, was not so much Gfinity's problem, but the orgs involved.
Yeah.
Commercializing what was the product of Gfinity.
So anyways, going back to League of Legends, it's in a tricky situation at the moment. We have seen a team pull out already. One of the AFL clubs, the Bombers, have pulled out.
They bombed out.
I'm really concerned. If I'm going to be completely candid here, I actually think OPL and League of Legends here in Australia, without knowing everything at the moment, is a sinking ship.
But
I think it's gone. I think it's gone into a position now where it was the pinnacle. It's where if you wanted to be considered a tier 1 org and you wanted to, a lot of orgs tried to build their sponsorship plans around League of Legends. That is no longer the case. However, I will say that I'm expecting to be surprised by Riot Global. I almost feel like Riot Global has to do something to prop up the region and support it, and I'm sort of expecting that to happen. If that doesn't happen, then I believe the OPL is in serious trouble going in.
Why would
beyond
Pentanet
2020.
invest in it if it was in serious trouble?
Why would the Bombers pull out if it wasn't in serious trouble? So it's like
what
the
else do
flip
Bombers
side.
have?
Well, if you think about it, right?
Nothing, right?
If you think about it this way,
they're out.
Bombers were so they're out. If you're out, obviously there's a certain level of liquidation that you're looking to maybe get some money back for your asset. That was the OPL spot. We know that OPL spots in previous dealings with Riot, they have a value.
They do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, if you're looking to get out of the
They've already got their money then, haven't they?
Well, maybe
If
not.
Pentanet bought their spot, then they're done. They're good.
Well, that's a lot of speculation, but we don't know what they got for it. We don't know what the process was there. Obviously, Bombers would have had to have been in contact with the OPL.
Spots were like $1 million or something.
Oh, Jesus.
No. Look, spots are worth what someone's prepared to pay for them.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was the incident earlier or late last year. Yeah, late last year where a team was banned or removed from the OPL, where Riot was then put in a position to sell that spot. and bring someone else in.
Who was that?
Riot then has sold that spot. I don't know if they consulted. I don't know if Riot consulted the other orgs, but I did hear rumblings of the other orgs not being too happy about not being consulted because it's also their asset as well. And Riot has gone and sold it for whatever they sold it for. And then that amount now becomes the valuation of these orgs' assets.
Yeah. Oh, that's when Immunity got banned.
No, it was the TM, State of Mind.
No, it was Regicide, wasn't it?
It became Regicide.
Yeah.
So TM was partnered with old mate from New Zealand.
Well, they got relegated. Regicide came up. That was previous T-Links.
Okay, yeah, that was right. Relegated. I'm just trying to remember exactly how it worked out. I think you're right, Jim.
TM
whatever happened.
But the
spot ended up for sale. Yeah.
Which became Tectonic, which Tectonic then got relegated. And Regicide came up.
Yes. Huh. No, you're dead right. So, however, as far as the spot's value, it's really hard to determine.
That was a while ago, by the way.
It's really hard to determine. I don't think anyone's paying that kind of money for an OPL spot, given where the OPL's at right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Jake Spawn
is just having an aneurysm right now.
He's having an aneurysm. He's waiting to correct us.
Yeah. Well, actually,
and he will. We are waiting.
Just waiting for that ad on Twitter.
Wait for the tweet. Go to his Twitter to find out whether or not what we just said was even remotely accurate.
We're probably way off the mark. I know we're kind of close. We're skirting around.
Can you just stop?
Love you, Spawn.
Yeah. Can you just stop skirting around the fact that you need to be on this podcast, Jake, and get to Sydney?
Yeah. Come on down.
Come up here. It's not that far.
Yeah.
But I'm very concerned for League of Legends or in Australia, like the OPL, anyways, right?
Trash game.
We will see what happens going into next year. Part of me is sort of, like I said, half expecting Riot Global or Riot NA or something to come in and help prop this up. But
I think everything will be fine. I just think the orgs are going to lose a lot of money because they're not getting free money.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even about that. The players are going to miss out, right?
Well, the players will miss out in the short term because you were saying, and you're quite right, in that every organisation that was in the OPL geared their sponsorship towards the
reliance.
OPL.
The reliance on the OPL.
Well, it wasn't relying on OPL to get sponsorship, but that was where the main source of the draw on their funds was coming from.
But let me get it into specifics, right? If you were an OPL club this year in the OPL, you had a team house where you had 5 players that you could go into that house, film content, create content, do stuff. You could sell that to a sponsor. You can be like, we have access to these players. CS teams in Australia, majority of them are spread out over the country. If you've got an activation, short of flying everyone in and accommodating them and all that kind of stuff, what the OPL provided was an opportunity for these orgs to have a team house and players ready to go to do any kind of activation or promotional stuff. Even though the players weren't too keen on doing it, it was still there. Yeah. That had value.
When I still feel like it was underutilized.
100%. Yeah. But I think that also comes back to...
also because you couldn't be edgy or you'd just get banned?
Yeah, well, Riot was very strict, but that's a different story. Okay. Also, there's a majority of the players...
Same with GFIN, having players in bloody Sydney every week for 7 weeks.
Yeah, the same thing.
You've got them all
but that was a selling point. For the orgs that were involved in Gfinity, that was part of the selling point when speaking with sponsors or potential partners of getting on board.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just about the league itself. It's about what it actually provided and what you were then able to do with that. And if you look at sort of where it's going to be heading now, you lose all that.
Yeah.
Right. So it then doesn't become as valuable or, don't get me wrong. The orgs will get creative. They'll find a way to pitch it in such a way that they'll still be able to make ends meet and make it work. I
hope they get creative.
They're going to have to.
I know there's some switched on folk in these
100%.
orgs that are going to likely know which way. And honestly, I think the ones that aren't so focused on just content and have other revenue streams planned and have different outlooks are probably better positioned.
100%.
Yeah.
And I actually think we're at a time now in esports in Australia where there are orgs that are going to be able to adapt and they're going to improve and make their way through into 2020, 2021, and we're going to see them continue soaring. There are going to be orgs that drop off big time.
Yeah.
I've heard that
over
there's
the
some
next couple of years.
big things coming for a couple of orgs.
Yeah, there's definitely some big things in the pipelines for a few orgs.
Yeah. So that should substitute for a lot of that lost cash.
Well,
but it
either way,
depends.
they've got to now pay the lion's share.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So if you're still involved in OPL, you're now completely funding that yourself, right? As an organization. So
It's been gradual, to be fair, from Riot's perspective. Like from team stipends, they've been pulled back.
Yeah, they haven't just pulled the rug out. That's 100% true.
It's been gradual.
And that's good by them because that could have been. But like I said, look, we've seen Bombers go. We've seen Pentanet come in. I'm not sure.
That's from left field for me.
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure that was. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I don't know if that was the best decision given the uncertainty.
You think it was
They'll probably know more than we know because they're involved in the conversations.
Do they have a team?
No.
So they've got
a spot.
But everyone will be recruiting teams at the moment. Right now, everyone's sort of recruiting. But all the players are holding out. See, my understanding is there's still 1 or 2 orgs that are offering semi-decent salaries.
Okay.
Right? But the rest won't be.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're a player, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Are we going to have an issue now where players are going to have to play for the passion of the game? And that's probably what's going to be getting them through because obviously now that there's no stipulation on the minimum player salary, it's a real prospect that players might not even be offered any money to play. It's just the opportunity.
Well, there's a lot of players that just wanted to play and that was it, and that's fine. But if you want to be a professional player and you want to actually get paid and have the opportunity to do boot camps or have a gaming house or have that salary, you now need to support your org that you're under and help as far as building your own brand and helping build the org's brand.
Yeah.
Prior to Riot pulling the pin on player salaries, players didn't really care about that so much. Not all of them, but a vast majority of them
but do you think
were just there to take their salary and focus on just playing and scrims and solo queue, and that's it. Now these players, if they want, they now have, the onus is almost put back on them in a small area where they now need to help build their League of Legends in the region again.
Good.
In and amongst the orgs.
I don't think that realization is going to be immediate. I think in this first season of no support, you're going to have some organizations that will have players that will do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to have some that won't. They won't have that realization yet that the reliance is now back on them to actually help engage, support, and try and activate their fan base.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting. By the way, like I know we've sort of alluded to potentially like an online league next year. There's no guarantee that that's the case. I'm still hearing rumblings of like orgs chasing down Sydney-based players almost exclusively on the off chance that it's still going to be in a studio.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's going to play out. We don't know. There's a lot of speculation coming out of us at the moment.
Just because we have the best ping.
Now's the time to move to the home of esports, Sydney.
If you're a League of Legends player and it is going to be in the studio still next year, you will get picked up if you're in Sydney.
Just by virtue of the fact that you are available to travel to the studio, which is a requirement, if it's a requirement.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next season.
Yep.
But that in itself, that's speculation as to if the orgs are now put in a position where they have to fund all these things. Is it even feasible for them to even do the team house? If they have to, what on earth are they going to do in terms of sponsorship? Because we've already talked about how over-reliant, just in general, organisations are on sponsorship.
100%. And it's ROI too. Teams are now going to start looking at this and going, okay, cool. This is how much we need to spend on League of Legends. What happens if I spend this on CSGO? What happens if I spend this on Dota? What happens if I spend this on influencers or streamers or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
What if this is the resurgence of Dota in the region?
It 100% could be.
Suddenly, your CPM becomes so much more valuable as an org.
Do you think?
You're sitting there going, how much money is firstly it's going to cost us, and what's it actually going to get us now? Like, what is the trade-off for having a spot in League of Legends? And further to the point that you were making about it requiring the buy-in from the players, it is maybe even going to take a potential culture shift from some of the orgs to get that buy-in.
Yeah. I look, like I said, I actually think so, like, without knowing anything, because I truly don't in this situation, I'm, part of me is almost half expecting more orgs to drop out between now and the start of OPL.
It's a pretty grim outlook.
Hopefully I'm wrong. But look, I just don't know. We just don't know. A lot of speculation here from us, and we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Talking through a lot of potential scenarios, and does it make CS more attractive?
Yeah, or other titles.
Or I mean, obviously, forget Call of Duty, right? Like that's just not even attainable.
No.
Because there's nothing happening locally in APAC. But Dota 2, as you said, Mac, I think that actually could be an interesting one because it seems as though there's been slowly and steadily more circuits popping up.
Well, there's more Aussies popping up overseas as well.
Yeah.
And that's a game that you play for passion. So
yeah, there's a lot of really good talent here, and if it's properly supported, then there's a real opportunity for a potential ROI in that. And given the way that Dota plays out, a lot of these teams that go through and even win things like the TI almost come from nowhere. Right, League of Legends is almost built around you've got the certain names and the certain people that have been involved and been around for a very long time, and it's the same sort of people re-popping up at the big stage. Whereas Dota's, you can have players come out of nowhere and go all the way. So
I think it's very much going to be a watch this space for League of Legends in the new year. So it's going to be, I don't know, that story's going to keep developing.
It will. It'll keep developing, and we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what happens with the orgs and the players and what 2020 holds for us.
Indeed. Now, let's
while we're there quickly, I just want to shout out to Spawn's idea of running those in-houses as well.
Yeah.
Because all the players are free agents, essentially, or the ones that have been allowed to look for deals.
So it's almost like a combine.
Yeah, he's just going to be running
exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, in-house games, which is just they're 10-mans, people call them, whatever you want to call them. Essentially scrims with just a bunch of the top players in the region, and they're all just going to be, forming mixed teams, having a good time. And I think the games are all going to be streamed on his channel, one of the channels on Twitch somewhere. And essentially it's just them showing themselves off, showing people what they can do and showing their worth. So that'll be interesting to see. I think that's going to start this week sometime.
Okay. Well, let's dial it back to some native territory for us. CSGO received its first operation update in what seems like donkey's years, Mac. Donkey's years.
Yeah, it was...
We know that the NPCs have been crying out for it, and they've got their wish.
It's been a fun time.
Oh, the NPCs.
I didn't get to play it for the first good 2 weeks or something.
Shattered Web?
Yeah, I think I bought it the other night. Well, I can't remember playing Counter-Strike.
All we know is we've encountered some very precarious player models.
Yeah, bro. I played for the first time now, obviously being in the States. Played with Jim last night. Swear I ran into some terrorist wearing some Gucci scarf or something.
Yeah, it's suddenly
bizarre.
High fashion.
Yeah.
It's so weird even just to look at and think about shooting at it because it's not a default skin.
It's just different.
It's like,
I'll be honest, I've seen Counter-Strike now, from an observer point of view for the last year, and it just keeps getting worse. Every update just keeps getting worse and worse. And not
a fan of the other things like the Galil and the Famous update as well.
In previous versions of CS, don't get me wrong, you had the ability to choose your player model.
That's what we wanted. That's all people were asking for. Give us the Arctic Avenger back. Give us the GSG-9. Give us the SAS guy. Give us the SEAL Team 6.
I feel like if you're SAS, you're in so much trouble in CSGO.
Yeah.
Because of the visibility. That's the biggest issue, right? Is the visibility of the models. On certain maps. I saw a screenshot of someone coming out of Monster on Overpass and looking into that site, and there's someone just halfway up on the grate.
Who, that weird light green camo, right?
Yeah, camo's doing its thing.
You know camo? That thing?
Yeah.
It's made
camouflage
for being hard to see. Yeah, whose idea was it to go, let's make a character that's covered in that?
I did obviously, we saw Carnage female team qualify, I think it was today, for WesG. Or yesterday, maybe. Yesterday. Yeah.
There's 4 teams in the qualifier.
And that's great. But look, I was just more going to talk about the fact that there are a lot of female CSGO players and teams. And it's really good to see female models now in the game as well.
Is there a female model?
Is there?
There is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. The FBI agent?
I believe it's FBI. Yeah.
My question is,
so I like that. Cool
it always dials back to hitboxes with those things.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Nick yesterday.
Do they have a smaller hitbox because they have a different frame?
Same hitbox. Okay. So the thing is, there's some character that has this big bulky armor on it, right?
Yeah.
And you can
chunker.
Go to do jiggle peeking on the corners, right? And as you jiggle, your shoulder will go through. And if you get shot, you won't be hit because
it's like the mushroom head on the Dust 2 guy. Remember that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's still there.
That model.
Bloody those mushroom hats.
No, mushroom hat had no rego.
No, true. You could never shoot in the back either.
Because it didn't exist. It was just a skin on top of a hitbox.
It's like all these French pastry chefs were just now CTs.
Yeah.
Anyway, great idea. Poor implementation.
I agree. And I think there needs to be a mid-model option back in the day.
For
competitive play.
Yeah. Or for colorblind.
Yeah, but like min models was back in the day. It's like everyone wears the.
It was a competitive
same.
detriment, though, to be honest. If
What,
you had
mid
mid models on, like I knew APOC because of the guerrilla
exactly.
warfare.
I was about to touch on that because players always, out of habit, would choose the same skins on certain maps, and you knew who was where based on the skin that they have. So based on where they were playing, you knew that if you had a APOC was SAS, wasn't he?
Nah, guerrilla warfare. As T, he was always guerrilla warfare.
CT.
As CT, most people all use the same thing.
Everyone went GIGN because that was the smallest.
The smallest
head.
one, yeah. There was a couple of outliers, like Ruthless, one of the Westie guys would always go SEAL Team 6. Big green idiot.
Yeah.
Big green idiot.
Yeah, he had this huge green helmet. That's the whole reason people used to play Elite Crew, because it's a tiny little head.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
anorexic dude.
And Gomez had like GIGN with like the big white
GIGN. I was always SAS or GIGN.
Yeah, I think he did. Anyway,
SAS was the black one. SAS was the black one, so you'd play SAS on train and hide under trains with it.
Yeah, right.
GIGN was like Inferno because it was small head.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, he wasn't GIGN. He was the big bulky headed one.
There was GSG9.
GSG9, yeah.
The big German helmet.
One.
Camouflage
option
helmet.
1.
Yeah. Oh, option 1 was SEAL Team 6. Yep.
Was it?
Yep. One was SEAL Team 6, 2 was GSG, 3 was SAS, 4 was GIGN.
Actually, no, you're right. He was SAS. He was always SAS because he was...
It's only 15 years ago.
He was just...
That's impressive, Ian.
You don't forget that shit.
No, it's true. It's funny because like some people even look like the models that they chose.
Arctic Avengers,
big green idiots.
Every drug dealer,
guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
But
just needed that red headband.
Point is,
that's what
where we're going with that.
Point changes
is the models for competitive are completely dog shit.
Yeah,
and
it's a gentleman's agreement now. Or?
Yeah, so it seems like there's a gentleman's agreement for the CSPAA.
Yes.
Yeah, CSPAA, where they've
it's not
said...
a gentleman's agreement. Like, that's a law.
Well,
they're putting in a law.
I saw both ESEA and Faceit have now said that they will just be using standard models.
Yep. Is there a way to enforce it as a server command yet?
I'm sure there will be.
I think
there might be. I hope there is.
Yeah. Surely there is.
If there isn't one, there will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if not, they'll force it via a plugin or something like that.
That's good.
They've got the teams on this. They've got like the dev teams developing this, and that's what they're getting paid to do. I hope.
So let me just clear up something. So we got the player associations come out and said this. You're saying that that's like how it is, right?
That's how they will be saying this is happening. Like you're using default skins for your tournament, or we as a collective will not be attending.
Right, so it puts the onus back on the tournament to make that a rule.
Yes.
Right, so it's not like another team who may not be a part of that players association be like, no, I'm not doing that. Or like, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, like Greyhounds could go if they're not a part of the CSPAA, and they could be like, well, we'll play, we don't care the skins. And then they would just have no good teams.
Right, then the other teams just wouldn't play. Yeah. All right, I get it now.
Bit of a strong arm move.
That's fine, but we're waiting to hear like the stance from Valve.
And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
The potential scary part, because Valve have done some crazy things with the game lately.
Well, players can do some funny things. It actually reminded me of something I should have brought up earlier. But at the PGC, one of the player Godv, I'm sure you guys are familiar with that player.
I've heard the name.
He used to play for 4AM.
Yeah, 4AM player lodged an official complaint against one of the Lazarus players because they punched him when he was knocked, and that apparently affected his brand and his ego. Apparently back home. So he lodged an official complaint.
Punched whilst knocked.
Yeah, so while he was knocked, he got finished by getting punched. And he lodged an official complaint. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
That reminds me of something.
Do we have a Snowflake of the Week award?
Yeah, that's Snowflake of the Week. Because, there's been a few lately, actually. It's pretty good competition.
We've missed 4 weeks.
Rack them up. Let's go.
But, look, to be honest, they always come in pairs, don't they? No, to the God V thing, that we had the same thing in Counter-Strike with getting knifed.
Yeah, someone would get real upset.
Yeah, but then there was people who thought the Dak needed to get banned as well.
But I mean, the thing with knifing...
Capio wins it with a knife!
Yeah.
The thing with the knife in CS, though, is you get extra money for knifing someone.
Yeah.
Not in 1.6, though.
Yeah.
Famously, Mouse Sports won, like an ESL 1. Capio wins it with a knife.
Okay, tough spot.
Yeah.
That's a sensational.
That was the Wally clip, but it was a mark of like dominance and not so much. Okay, look, there's a level of banter associated with things like that.
Yeah,
and it's just like,
but also like it just makes
outplayed.
sense. It makes sense if you're behind a player and they're dumb enough to let it happen. You should knife them because save your ammo,
money
gives away your position, but like. Just makes sense. Yep. You can't miss.
And
one shot kill. Anyway, and
it's no different to being hit by a pan in like
to PUBG,
surely.
Yeah, but that's what's happened, right? But it was melee, right? Yeah. You can throw melee weapons down PUBG. So.
No, that's.
Do you remember the game sold at? I think it was like.
Yeah, I remember that.
Throwing a knife with that was like, the side-scrolling commando game that was like, you just run around and you'd like shoot at each other, 2D, when you did side-scrolling.
I just got like triggered PTSD from Call of Duty when they put the throwing knives in. Oh my God, that was so dumb.
But like, I just envisaged someone throwing a knife.
Anyway,
like sold out.
Moral of the story is Counter-Strike is on a downward spiral. It's getting casualed. It looks like Crossfire to me now. There's no.
Oh, that's fitting because you're going to China for Crossfire.
Yeah, I am. The economy game is ruined.
There's no economy.
Yeah, economy's real crazy right now.
I need a seasoned veteran of the game. I need the lost round bonus thing that ECS had on their GUI to keep up.
If you hit tab in game now on the right hand side, you know how they've got the timeline of who's won and lost what round. They will actually have what stage of the round loss bonus each team is at.
Might as well just go back to 1.6.
That's default in the game now.
Yeah, and if you hover over it, it tells you exactly how much they're about.
Go back to 1.6 where you can just press tab and see who's dead and who has the bomb.
Yeah, but like feeding IGLs more
free info.
Back in the day, no one even knew what money they were. We had people on our teams that we had to type our money, but they would lie about their money because we knew they bought the last round.
Yeah. Bought too much ammo in their deagle or just something like that.
It's like, well, you can't possibly have 4.6k because I saw you deagle armor last round.
Yeah, and part of the game
to their teammates, dude. Like, why would you lie to your team?
Yeah,
you know, like.
But it was such a bigger part of the game, just having to track the enemy's economy in your head, knowing how much they purchased, what they purchased. Someone should have overbought and could be like.
But like that was
somewhere.
my jam. Like I used to be really good at that. Now just too much effort.
There was a lot to do, like reading teams' money, reading like strategy,
how much money
spawns,
how much money they think you have as well, like
reading
all that
opposition spawns.
Yeah.
Like guys, I get the whole esports side of it and competitive, level of the game. However, what this update has done is put CSGO back at number one spot on Steam.
Free to play.
Put CSGO back at number one spot on Steam for user base and players as well. I think bringing more casuals back into the game and creating an update like this is actually healthy for the game.
I actually had a quick look. You know Anomaly?
Yeah.
So he bought like 1,000 levels of the battle pass thing and went through it. I didn't watch the whole video. I just watched the first part. But you spend $21 and then you spend however much per 10 levels or whatever. He was making money because of how expensive the skins were and how many skins he was getting.
He was
just
making
like
money on Steam.
On Steam, yeah. Making Steam money, which isn't real money.
It's like internet karma. It's like likes on tweets that are false.
Except you can buy games with it.
Yeah.
You can buy games with it. It's essentially
a
bit of free entertainment, maybe.
Can't farm.
It's just internet points.
Free games.
Yeah.
Out of Reddit karma.
Yeah. You can probably sell it. There's probably still sites out there where you can sell stuff. Even though I think one of them recently started accidentally or something, he scammed someone. I saw that on Reddit, which looked, I don't know. I don't touch it.
The whole thing, everything Valve do is a money grab.
They're in it for the big buck.
Yeah.
That's why.
And they get the big buck and it just doesn't come back into the sport. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Can't believe that they want to make money off an esport. What a joke.
Yeah, how dare they?
How dare they?
Well,
just in it
what
for the
about
big
Valve?
buck.
What about Dota 2?
I don't know much about Valve. I don't know much about them.
What about Dota 2, James?
What's Gaben do with the money? He makes Half-Life 1.5 or 2.5.
We've digressed. Obviously, there's positives though. As you said, the player base is coming back. We need injections of younger talent into CS.
Big new players.
You want to talk about injections of young talent. Tyloo, they were trialing a player. Vici were trialing a player, Jam Young, literally picked up out of pub. Advent had picked him up out of pub.
I remember.
And he's on trial.
That's right. I got picked up.
That was the MVP player.
No, Vici, right now.
Was the Vici one?
Yeah, but MVP have done the same thing as well. But Jam Young is the most recent player to be picked up out of just casual
he's
CS.
pretty good.
And he's actually, because he has been raised the right way in that the only competitive CS he's ever known is from
the best CS
from an experienced in-game leader. Yeah. He has he's basically
He
like
skips
unmolded
CGA.
clay. He's like unmolded clay. He has the fundamentals. He has all the understanding. He understands CS, and that's super rare in
Doesn't
itself.
have the bad habits that he
But-
picked up.
Yeah. I remember the opposite of that. I remember like getting the CSGO and there'd be some players who were just stuck in 1.6 brain or source brain
What
or
do
whatever.
you come to
And they
attack me?
just couldn't adapt. They just couldn't adapt. Never mind. Carry on.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
right. Okay.
No, it was a thing.
Don't know what he's on
100%. I'm not saying all of them. There's a lot of players that played
Mostly in
1.6
Europe.
in Source that were phenomenal at CSGO.
The
as
way
well,
I
'cause they
always-
could adapt. They could adapt.
Some of them,
Yeah,
some were
I
brilliant.
don't know.
Some
Great
of them,
IGLs.
Some of them were really good.
Some of
Like,
them
are you
were
talking about
excellent.
Gaza?
I'm not talking about
Is that an
anyone
attack on
specifically.
Gaza?
Absolutely not.
Because he's the only one I can think of that never really made it.
Thanks,
No,
man.
well, I mean, I'm even talking about my own experience. Like, I came into CSGO and started playing competitively, and I was playing with like GN people and things like
Yeah.
that. Some of them were good at adapting to CSGO. Some of them just couldn't snap out.
Well,
of
the thing is, if
Source
you were
and
good,
1.6.
what I'm trying to say is, if you were good at 1.6, CSGO and Source was easy mode. Like, real talk. It actually was.
Mm.
So you adapted instantly. Like, even me on a higher ping.
Yeah, look, if you played more, like,
You just
going from
needed someone who
1.6
told you the Source engine.
yeah,
Like,
going
you just
from
needed someone
1.6
to
to
say,
source,
Yeah.
easy mode.
yeah,
But if you just gone from 1.6
to CSGO.
to CSGO, a little bit of source,
Yeah, you're right.
it wasn't as easy because you
Yeah,
didn't get
yeah.
the source engine thing, right? Like
Yeah.
you didn't get the finesse of not being able to pixel throw a flash,
Not being able to tap.
not being able to tap,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff, just being... It took more time.
No,
for
but
some players.
CSGO to 1.6 to Source was actually still easy mode, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
But it was more about the level of the player.
Yeah.
Because they were it was basically, it's kind of like Overwatch casting. It's like if you were no good at CS casting, like you went to Overwatch because it was new and you had no competition. So if you were no good at Counter-Strike, or if you were good at Counter-Strike 1.6, you went across the Source
Yeah.
because it was so easy. Like, Sponge was winning. That's how easy it was. So
gone from like... No, gone from
He
like
said his name. Wow.
12th to 16th. I should have gone to source, man. Like I was placing 12th
You
to
should've.
16th at Nats.
you
As
should
well.
have. You should have.
But I stayed in...
STV was winning.
I stayed and I grinded my way to second.
So what's
In
next?
the very end.
See, I feel like I missed because I love KZ. I love trying to go for those fancy B hops. I missed the whole Foon stage of Counter Strike.
So did I.
CGS,
It was only
yeah.
basically thanks to YouTube that I even really experienced a lot of source, to be honest.
Yeah,
That's actually interesting. 'Cause
CGS.
I'm
CGS
going
was
to
the only
refer
reason.
to some of that a little bit later. But Mac, it is now time for Mac's mailbag.
We had
There-
the mailbag.
we haven't even touched on another one of those topics, or
What
are
was
we
the
just
What have we missed?
I can't believe I'm
a
not
little
even
bit
hosting
of
the show anymore.
one of those other bits with statements from players?
Oh, that old chestnut.
That old chestnut.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue.
Oh, those guys, huh? How about them?
Yeah. So
Okay, so we last reported on prior to Extremes Land, there was the Great Schism. You were either going for
The tide went out.
you were either going for the ESL Pro League, you're going for maybe Extremes Land. Either way, the schedule had clashed. Avant had drawn their lines. They were not wanting to change anything, at least so we thought the statement was.
yeah,
New evidence has been presented in that the actual team themselves, the players,
Evidence?
have spoken. Well, it's basically more
Exhibit B?
their side of the story
their side of the story has come out.
from
The
their perspective.
counterclaim?
Yeah,
The counterclaim, the defendant
Mm.
has come out with their side. Now, does that change anything in your minds as to where you see the whole debacle?
well,
At all?
I believe it to an extent, and it obviously needed to come about 4 weeks earlier, and then I wouldn't have made a dick of myself. But I still stand by everything I said before that side of the story was there, because with the information that we've been given and what we've been told by Avant, like,
I don't think
It just
anyone
looked
made a dick
bad.
of themselves. Like, some people are like, oh, I can't believe I jumped the gun on that. No, you didn't really. You were given the facts.
Yeah.
You made a decision then, and then some other stuff came out, and you think that's like, if that's changed your opinion, was it Sterling who released the?
yeah, Sterling was his Twitter that dropped the player.
All right, yeah.
statement.
So if you're gonna change your mind based on what Sterling wrote, I read through that and I was just like, this just reeks. Like, you have a voice as a player. You can dictate everything.
Surely
You
they
could
would have heard.
put your hand up immediately and say, no, that's not right. Reverse that decision. Not one person did that. Twitter was silent for 4 weeks. Not one person did anything to say,
Yeah.
that's not what we wanted. They all just let it happen. And then afterwards, they're like, that's not what we wanted. But our management was so bad, they didn't listen to us. It's like, please. Right?
Who is that?
If someone comes to you and they say, hey, just so you guys know, I got an email and ESL want to move the date so that Order and Greyhound can go to Extremes Land. And your first response isn't, okay, then you're wrong.
How many times have we seen that though, Ian? How many times have we seen someone come out and frame the narrative first?
Oh, yeah. But
and we have in this instance a chance for the players. Sure, they would have heard and seen what they'd been accused of, all this jazz, and it didn't help them the fact that they stayed silent for, in my opinion, far too long. If that wasn't what their desires were.
Yeah,
they needed to communicate those more clearly.
Well, they're worried about their livelihood, I suppose.
Well, not
jeopardizing their income and whatnot.
I don't think having a discussion internally and saying, no, we've been misrepresented here. This is actually what we thought. I think there's a communication breakdown, obviously, is what they cited, but it's not as though the chance to rectify that wasn't there.
There was no way that this whole thing happens without a chance to rectify it. There's not a way that ESL go, no, you told us in an email, your management told us in an email that you're not happy about this. Trust me, ESL would have been happy to, they would have been chomping at the bit for someone to do what Avant did. Because the way they see it then is they've put their hand out and they just needed one person to say no and they would have been justified in their stance, right?
The thing is as well is there's conflicting statements, which is the players' side, but then also whatever we got told by other people saying, oh, but we heard another team was going to do it first, so we just did it anyway, which was
That's a big... I don't know if we've ever leaked that before. I don't think we've ever mentioned that.
That's not a leak. That's just word on the street.
So I've
heard it from people.
Well, the word on the street is what you're saying, is that Chiefs also wanted to delay it, but Avant took the fall.
Well, I heard Chiefs after a couple of weeks. It said it was Chiefs, but I don't know.
There was no one else in the discussion, Mac.
I guess so.
So it had to be Chiefs.
Yeah, all right. Look, that does make a lot of sense.
Okay, so what you're saying is that Chiefs were also wanting to delay it, but when they heard Avant was going to stop the unanimous decision, that they would just went ahead with it. That's what you're saying. But that's the
what
conjecture.
I heard.
That's the conjecture. But
yeah, that could have been anyone. That could have been any of them.
I think the point you're trying to make is interesting, though. Look, I'm not commenting on this one.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm just letting you guys can talk about it.
But the only reason I brought that up is that was one of the things that was there, and then, it's a completely different side when you hear from the players. So unless that was, management's thoughts.
You're talking about Avant again now.
I feel like this is one of those situations where we're not going to get the full story because...
Well, I think we will.
Well, I don't think we will because I feel as though information is just going to constantly change.
Well, okay, I said I wasn't going to comment. I'm going to comment. I'm going to comment.
I know how to get
I've heard very different retellings of what went down.
Yeah.
From different people who at the time had no reason to tell me otherwise. All I am going to say, though, is player statement came out. It's been said. A statement came out from Wes very shortly afterwards where he took full responsibility for everything. Whether or not it was his full responsibility, I think what he's done is very admirable.
It's what a leader should do.
He's been the bigger man, but to me, he's doing his job, and it's like you said, Sean. That's the nice thing to do to protect the players.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the players definitely had the opportunity to reverse things. Much earlier. The decision comes down, you hear about it, you turn it around straight away. But the thing is, when it's convenient for you that someone else has made a mistake and you don't speak up, that's what's happened here.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in my chats, when I did speak to Wes, I'm not going to go into too much details.
Yeah.
But his number one concern in all of this, when this was blowing up, was the player welfare.
Yeah.
But
that's Wes.
Yeah.
And that's obviously why Avant got to where it got to, because of Wes. and he's concerned for player welfare and whatnot. But
he doesn't always make the best decisions, but deep down, all his decisions comes from his perspective of trying to look after the players.
No malice
welfare.
intended.
And that's why when he makes a tweet that's like, I take full responsibility, I just see through it. Just like I see through the Sterling tweet longer, and I see through it and I just go, no, you saw management was making a mistake and you let it happen. And just because you knew it benefited you, and at the end of the day, if any bad things happened, you'd just be able to go, oh, it's because we had poor management for 2 weeks or something. Like, no, could have been on Twitter straight away saying, we all 5 of us disagree with this. We've only just heard about it. Let's get this show on the road and reformat, reschedule it. More stuff will come out about Avant in the next couple of months, probably after the Christmas break, where everything hits the fan.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, like League of Legends as well is a big one, as we said. Like, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening around the grounds. That is now going to take us to Mac's mailbag.
Yeah, happily.
We got into that.
All right, I need to get.
There's a good one on there.
There's a couple. Yeah, I saw you all reading it. I was like, no, you don't do that. You got to be surprised. Let's see how this one. We're just going to go top to bottom. It's the easy way. All right, so we got one from your boy Tag, T_A_G Urit on Twitter, John Dudley. What are some lessons that OC can learn from overseas teams, TOs, and personalities?
Basically everything we've been talking about in this podcast.
Yeah.
Look, to answer that question, we are a small region in Australia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tiny.
So we are, the way that things are done here has to be different. The way that the people working in this industry to sort of do their thing has to be different. You have to be multifaceted. You have to be able to work across many different areas.
You have to live in Sydney.
We were talking about this today.
We were, yeah. So
we were talking about this today.
So at the end of the day, I think that there are lessons that we can learn from other smaller regions, like the Latin American region or regions similar to that, even though they're huge, right? They're actually, when you want to talk about population size and things like that, at the end of the day, we're finding our own way through this at the moment. We're trying to find our own identity. And I think a big part of that is sort of a shift of stop being so focused on internal here at Australia and start positioning ourselves as global products where we can.
And more to what you were saying about the level of individual skill possessed by people in this region. And it's not talent because it's skill. Talent is like basically playing off the fact that they've gone out and acquired all these skills. Yeah. Is that you have to be skilled in multiple facets to be successful in esports in this region. And as simply because there's not the level of depth to certain niches in esports. We were talking about it with reference to, say, for example, podcasts or anything that requires an audience. You can get 1 million people listening in the US or in Europe and whatnot, where the population density is so huge that, you might only get a fraction of the population. But comparatively, to get 1 million listeners in Australia or OCE, you have to be absolutely killing it, like unprecedented levels. So, like, to get the same level of
you'd have to be on a mainstream radio channel.
Exactly, but you have to do more than just that niche in OC. You have to be across so many different things.
You have to be malleable here as well.
That's exactly right. It requires a lot of skill to be successful in esports in OC. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that got there by faking it. But there's
a few around.
No, I'm not.
Mostly behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, you find out incompetence.
On panels.
There's a lot of talking being done in OC and not a lot of doing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
A lot of panels.
Look at us.
Yeah.
That's the irony of us being on a podcast and talking about a lot of being talked about and not a lot being done. I agree. That just dawned on me.
Free rent.
But
rent-free.
Stay rent-free, boys. Yeah. More to the point, as you said, individuals in OCE, there's definitely a bigger focus on being skilled across multiple facets. I mean, look at the bloody social media manager. The expectations on them is ridiculous.
Who would have thought that'd be?
Like, you need to be a content creator. You need to be a community manager. You need to be Also, on top of obviously the socials and things like that, the marketing and all of those things. Oh, by the way, you need Photoshop skills, Word skills, any sort of Microsoft Office, and maybe if you can code a website, that'd be excellent.
Yeah. You got a camera? Oh, no. Oh,
and
Geordie's got a camera.
We need to send you overseas with teams or to events with teams.
Yep.
And you also have to then manage the teams and make sure that they're getting up and going to events. And
here's another thing.
But you're an intern social media manager, and you're to blame if anyone grabs at us on
Think of all the skills you can put on the resume. Wow.
No, you only get one skill: social media manager.
Well, one title.
One thing that's kind of lost in time is like the fan. Like you used to have in 1.6, like I had fans. I had people who were saying like,
"Did you have a hltv.org page with like
this is way before then?" And I have one now, and I think I have 2 fans. But in 1.6, I had a lot of fans. Whereas like people were saying he's the best player in WA. Some people were saying like he needs to get like a Eastern States team, whatever. Like so I had fans in WA, but the Eastern States guys didn't know about me because there was this.
But no broads in Atlanta.
You know how it works, right? Yeah. With like the local land tournaments.
Segregated.
So
We've spoken
super
about
segregated.
We've spoken about this.
So what my fans did was like, and this happened all over the world, is they made videos.
Pay you for your loots,
They
right?
made frag videos of me so that I could get more popular.
Yep.
And, you know, and same with Jagen X. Like people just in Sweden like despise Jagen because he was never like a top 20 player, but he has frag movies and millions of fans.
It's funny because like RWA was hugely like widely known CSGO or CS player, CS 1.6 player from Sweden, prolific with the op, had like 20 or 30 frag montage movies, but never really did anything outside of Sweden.
In a top team.
Because he never wanted to travel, to be fair.
Yeah.
But same with Jagen.
A lot of people had that problem, right? But basically,
they were well known because of the content that was put out under their name.
Content, right? But this is also what I'm trying to say is like the fans did the content. The fans drove the content. It wasn't like the player going out. Well, maybe in Jagen's case it was, but
his brother happens to be the video editor for DreamHack now.
Yeah,
so his brother's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a little bit different, right? But like there would be people who wanted to do video editing and make these frag movies, and they would make them on their favorite players, and it would be a representation of their skill making frag movies and the player's skill. So it's like what's lost in time is these people who want to do video editing and that using their talent for free because no one's going to pay you, but it's like your portfolio, right? So that's gone, but that kind of stuff really does boost your
100%
credentials overseas and like your profile. Like if there was a Dick Stacey frag movie, even though people might say that he's not the best in Greyhounds, like he has a huge following. He has a huge personality and...
Well, see, it could be meshed in with frags and like...
And I'm sure he has great frags.
Clips of interviews.
If you only show the best, like the 1% of his good frags, then that's all people see. And that's how you kind of get a name. So that's what people aren't doing anymore. That could definitely still work.
Okay.
Look at Reddit. It used to be all about Shroud.
Yeah, or NAFBL.
Yeah.
Rank S. It was literally the Rank S highlight club.
All right. So we'll go over to MJ. So we've got MJ here, MJ Kaya. I can never say the last part of his tag.
Carmody.
Car.
But is it car?
It is car. It's a joke.
Oh, but it's got an E in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I've missed the joke, but
he's explained his Twitter handle many times. Don't worry about it.
I don't even ask anymore.
I'll ask next time I see him. Anyway, he has asked, how much beef between esports figures is real versus assumed versus performative? What beefs do the general social media public not even know about? How much is just misunderstanding and poor comms?
Mate,
and best historical real esports beef?
You already know, MJ. That is such huge bait. We've been putting out fires. We've been putting out fires that you didn't even know existed.
That's bait.
Everybody in an esports org or an esports TO or whatever, just in esports in general, has been putting out fires
behind the scenes for years that people would never know even existed, and that is them doing their job.
That's a bad question.
It's a huge bait.
I'm gonna avoid. I'm
going to take the beef one. I'm going to take the beef one.
Best historical real esports beef. Let's look at that one.
Oh, I was just going to say that. You're more in tune with maybe the current beefs if there are any.
I want the historical.
But I think here's the thing, right?
This could be a whole separate podcast.
I know. In esports, I actually think it could be. But in esports right now, I think the figures have come to a realization that there are personas attached to their figures.
Yeah.
And having beef per se is more of a theatrical performance nowadays than it used to be. I don't know. Maybe we'll settle this.
Shock revelations here
Maybe
on the
we'll settle
Esports
this.
social podcast.
Maybe we'll settle this in the ring, mate. Okay?
No.
But
You mean
historical beefs.
people
I'm just gonna leave
put
you
on a
with that.
show on social media?
Isn't that what social media is about?
Oh, interesting. I thought
crazy.
you were only ever telling the... Yeah, I thought you were just being a genuine yourself on social media. I didn't think...
I've never been fake, mate. I've never been fake. Okay? So people, when they see me on Twitter, they know I'm never fake and I'm genuinely that person. Okay?
I'm not being a part of that because I'm not. I'm always fake.
genuinely stupid.
Yeah.
But, that's the benefit, though. If people tell you they're never fake on Twitter or anything like that, they've always been real, they've always been themselves, you know that they're genuinely stupid. If they're genuinely stupid. But either way,
Well,
historical beefs.
Yes.
Yeah, what
yes,
is
yeah.
historical beef?
I'm gonna.
historical real esports beef, like real.
Could I get in on this one early?
100%, because I'm trying to think at the moment.
GT hybrid
Yeah.
versus the entirety
Of
of
1.6?
CS 1.6.
What's
CS Source will be the future.
CS Source will be the future. So to give you context, back in the day, there was forums were huge. Forums were huge for CS 1.6.
Yeah.
The most prominent forum at the time was ESAU. And basically around the time of Source coming to prominence, and even back further to Pantheon as well, which was the other hub for CS 1.6. Basically, people lived on the forums, died on the forums, what have you. There was, around the time of Source...
That's where you'd go to expose people.
Yeah.
Because Twitter didn't exist.
Basically...
If you caught someone cheating, you'd post a video or something on the forum.
You're right.
There was a player / instigator. Hybrid was his name. GT.
Yep.
GT Esports was his little organisation. GT Esports was also
Just like a typical owner.
one of the first Source hubs as well. GT Esports before Got Games.
Yeah.
And basically, he would come on to the forum of CS 1.6s, predominantly CS 1.6s, and essentially proclaim, like some sort of madman, that Source was the future and CS 1.6 would die.
He was not completely wrong. I'll be honest.
Well, CS 1.6 outlasted Source in every major international competition. Tell me how many WCGs Source had. One, before it was canned. Then they went back to CS 1.6. Then they went to mobile games.
WCG is a great example
ESWC.
of a great organisation.
ESWC, Code 5.
Yeah. They all went back to 1.6?
They all went back to 1.6 after one...
Source had CGS.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Nice.
And no, there was other things. So Source really took off in terms of like DreamHacks and all these other ones. Can't remember off the top of my head because
I feel like
I didn't give that much of a shit about like overseas Source games, but like Very Games notoriously famous for dominating the scene in CS Source, and there was a lot of LANs, and it was like DreamHacks and like all these other tournaments that you probably haven't heard of.
But no one cared because no one read Cadred.
Yeah, well, Cadred was dead. Well, Cadred died. Yeah.
What I will say is that for me, this beef was more prolific and real because of the forums.
It was a real beef.
Because in the forum, obviously, you're not limited to 240 characters. You can literally wall of text someone, and that is exactly what happened. Your entire night would be spent F5ing a thread where people were literally going at each other. And I'm talking this was in the age too, where remember, you don't get hung out to dry if you call someone, by like any sort of derogatory name on a forum. Like no one batted an eyelid at that stuff.
It was before the PC culture started to entwine
There was
itself.
no room for a snowflake back on the forum days.
Yeah.
Exactly, but this is the thing too. And they would just go hell for leather against one another. And this GT hybrid guy was not like, he would take on anyone, but with one steadfast argument that CS 1.6 would die and Source was the future. And that for me was like, out of any beef, that one comes immediately to mind. And then the second one is basically anyone that has played under Sentinel in Immunity.
What's that?
AKA the owner of Team Immunity. Anyone that's played under him has eventually...
A real, genuine beef.
had a genuine beef due to contracts.
Okay. Well, there you go. My one,
Especially
for
League of Legends.
Well, yeah, that one actually got stamped out of.
my best historical real esports beef, which isn't really esports, was when Dr. Disrespect and Player Unknown had a fight on Twitter, and Dr. Disrespect threatened him, in quotation marks, with real life physical, violence, and Player Unknown got really grumpy about it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I got, really.
That's a good one.
Oh, my other esports beef was probably when what's his name? Gargoyle and Panic up on the ESL stage almost got in a fight instead of shaking hands. That was pretty funny. Kind of. I wouldn't say it was funny, but
It's a real beef.
that was a real beef.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, in esports, in OCE, there's no beef, just chicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sean, your turn.
What about
I mean, I like some of the more recent beef between the
Yeah.
degenerates that we have lurking around
NPCs.
the CSGO scene at the moment.
I'd just call them NPCs, not even figures. I don't give them. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Sean, you have to give them a career to kill it. That's the thing with these people that you're talking about right now. They are absolute non-playable characters.
Yeah.
They are not figures in the sense that we're talking in this question. You literally have to give them notoriety by talking about them to then take it away from them.
Yeah, well, those guys and one of our co-hosts here, Sniper, that beef at the moment is very much real and ridiculous.
Okay. Ian, anything on your end that sticks out over the eons that we've been involved?
Real beef.
What about some of the beefs that the public don't know about? Anything comes to mind?
I'm not saying nothing.
So they exist.
Well, okay. I'm gonna take the bait on this one, but I'm gonna refrain from some detail in that, putting out fires that you never knew about.
Yeah.
With, say, for example, Gfinity.
Yeah.
All right. When we brought the Elite Series in, I went to bat for the removal of the VAC rule.
Yep.
In that we would move to a more standard,
Like DreamHack.
like DreamHack, had been adopted
so-
by
Yeah.
most, if not all, TOs in this space, in this region.
Yeah.
Obviously rendering Chiefs without two of their best players.
Yeah.
And I went into bat for them, and I opened up a can of worms internally.
Yeah, right.
I was almost excommunicated from Gfinity UK
Yeah, right.
with their upper management because I went in hard to bat for this, saying it was crucial to this success. And we were then cut off from some of the resources and things like that. And it took a long time to overcome that one. I ripped the Band-Aid off by going in hard really early in the picture. And that was when I was fresh into the space, but also I knew what I was doing in this region. So I think, obviously that's a fire that people would never knew about and probably won't until this gets released.
There you go. Embargo's finally gone.
Embargoes, yeah. But obviously, full credit to Gfinity AU crew. They rallied around that. They went into bat for that as well.
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, as much as people were copping some unfair crap about that, just know that that wasn't the position. But you got to remember at the end of the day, who's paying your wages? So you toe the company line.
So there's a lot of performative beef.
Yeah.
Pretty much every Oz org has one against each other. To be honest, they don't hate each other. They're all in the same game.
Yeah.
But
Whenever
there's
they
gotta
see each other, they're always smiles.
Yeah, it's always Dylan, you son of a bitch, But on Twitter or whatever, it could be
all right, Sean, come on, mate.
Yeah,
You've been
let's
humming
go.
and hawing.
There's plenty of behind the scenes beef amongst these orgs. 100%. You have an org pop up and come in and start spending well and above and beyond what is sustainable for the rest of them. That pisses off the other orgs.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a beef, but it's
Oh no, it's behind the scenes. There's plenty of judgment and there's plenty of beef, and most of it's pretty well founded too. A lot of the time, you look at what a lot of them you can look at what Kings did when they popped up and how they disrupted the scene and the industry in, you could argue, in a negative way, right? That's still sort of being recovered from. So there's plenty of stuff that, you know, we could do a whole podcast on this, but we're not going to. We'll move on to the next question.
Oh, you're the host, Sean. You just starts it out by like, Ian, you're wrong. Hosting. Here's an example, but we'll move on to the next question.
Damn right.
There's actually some good questions in the mailbag this week.
Everyone's
liking them.
The host. All right, so we will move down to. Well, we got a net potter who said release the Hounds #EPL10, which we haven't touched on. They're over there playing in EPL finals.
Go get them, boys.
Yeah,
shortly.
Go get 'em.
You got Auto over in the MDL finals as well, so that'll be happening in the next couple of weeks, I think.
More bite than bite.
Everybody,
we'll see how they go.
This region went through hell to get a team to EPL.
Yeah.
By God, gents, take the chance and fucking run with it.
Yeah.
And they got to play Australis too.
Doesn't matter.
They're going to smash Australis.
They took out Liquid. Liquid were on a downward spiral after that Greyhound loss.
Yep. It took them a while to get back onto it as well. They're not
Same with
really
EG.
There. Yeah, true.
True. Well,
Nothing is impossible in Counter-Strike. That's what I always used to say. I mean, I didn't exactly always achieve the possible, but actually I did achieve the possible, but it just was never impossible. There was always a chance.
They're human. They bleed.
Yeah.
All right.
We could have beat Virtus Pro all those times.
So that was from Fan Potter, by the way. We'll move on from that one just to save time. And Michelle Payne, so at Pocket Psych on Twitter, has asked, well, it's two-part.
So this
takes two tweets.
Some context quickly.
Yep.
She is the sports psychologist working with
I don't know if you can call her that yet.
No, she is. She tweeted the other day that she's
It's official.
back practicing properly.
All right,
continue.
We're good to go. All right, cool. 2 days ago, Thorin tweeted, I've never understood the desire to only hear praise from analysts in esports, and gave an example of Roy Keane tearing into soccer players as being more entertaining. Part 2, I'd like to ask about the line you each walk, especially if you don't know exactly what is going on behind the scenes. Is it better to be entertaining or knowledgeable? Is it possible to just highlight unusual play without speculating?
Well, Ian?
Okay, yeah. Look, I will never do anything just for entertainment's sake if it's not factual. So, like, if I'm talking negatively about a player, I either definitely know what I'm talking about, which will be always the case if Counter-Strike's involved.
Yeah.
If their personal life if I know something about their personal life, which is interfering with their performance, then I'll mention it, unless it's, like, private, in which case then it's probably really bad, and then I won't critique their performance. But so that pretty much answers the question. I think if you put yourself on the stage on Counter-Strike, and you know you're there to do well, you're there to play, you play. I'm there to analyze. I'm going to analyze. And it's like when I was doing IEM Sydney, and I said MIBR are shit, and they will not win.
Well, you're not making it to the next major, are you?
Then Brazil goes, he just hates Brazil. No, guys, have a look at the stats. MIBR haven't won anything. They are playing shit. That is a fact. And I was right. They lost.
Yeah.
Do I hate Brazil? No. Not that I know of.
But passionate...
I could.
Passionate, patriotic fans are going to take that in a completely wrong way.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of sport, is that there's nuffies out there that think they know more of anything that the analysts are going to say. That's the beauty of it.
But why do they...
It happens in traditional sports.
But why are they like, like, I can just imagine what Thorin's talking about, where he's like, he's probably teared down some player who's played really bad for some game.
Yeah.
And he said, like, the whole reason they're losing is because this one player has one job and they're not performing. Now, what we don't know is, like, if Thorin says that, he might actually know something about the team about to collapse or something, and he might be saying that, or it might just be he actually was a really bad play.
Yeah.
Like, remember the KOB days? Like, he would be causing Australis to lose. And it's like, well, do we say, KOB's being really bad, and when he leaves, it's like, oh, thank God he left? Or do we just go, oh, yeah, they're just doing really well? Like, how do you lie? If they're playing bad, you got to say they're playing bad.
Here's the thing. We'll jump in on this one, in that it is the skill of the analyst and the broadcaster to be able to identify what information and what context needs to be applied here.
But it's still got to be entertaining. Because it's a show.
Entertaining. Exactly, correct.
So factual, entertaining dismemberment of a person.
Well, that's in one context of it as well.
That's the skill of the broadcaster, is being able to balance that. Balancing entertainment with facts, cold, hard facts.
Storyline, everything. That's what it's all about.
And that's why for ages, we've always preached, and I know like I could speak confidently amongst the four of us sitting here, that always has been a focus of storyline on any games that we've casted, in that we've built context, not just around what the match means in the context of the game, but also if there's any other external factors playing 100%. Part on the team.
Even if we know they're going to die, if the team is going to die, if a player's getting kicked, like it's context and you've got to mention it.
Yeah. But I think it's safe to say too, a lot of us can do that without being edgy or trying to be cool or whatever it is. And I think obviously, we've made leaps and bounds in the way that commentators have navigated that space, particularly in OCE. I think it's safe to say. I don't think I'm not going to say that anyone in OCE in commentary work does walk that line anymore of being edgy or anything like that. I think everyone approaches it quite professionally, or at least applies the level of knowledge that they have with that team. But are we being too soft on teams? Are we just overly praising them when sometimes they don't need the praise?
Why are they getting paid to fail?
Does that Ninja tweet actually provide more context than we thought?
Yeah,
certainly could.
Could there be? Maybe we just never understand how college NFL football teams.
Why do they pay these kickers that miss so much money when there's kickers that don't miss?
Yeah,
it's silly.
It's almost like there's a human factor to it.
Yeah,
it's almost like that. Yeah. I'm not going to draw conclusions though.
Yeah,
but that is a great question. I think it's part of the skill of the broadcaster to not only know their subject matter, but also know their subjects.
If they're wrong, like the thing is, if a broadcaster is wrong, I feel like
here's a crazy.
They also are at the mercy of the crowd, where they could be ridiculed.
Here's a crazy thing: if you're ever in doubt, talk to the team.
Yeah,
we've always, if we've had questions about where the team's headed or what's happening with the team, never been afraid to talk to a player or a team.
Well, I reached out to Avant. No one responded to me.
For example.
Yeah, for example. And then, I was radio silence, whatever. And then, I posted that tweet where I was like, glad to see that extra time definitely helped Avant going out in fourth place, whatever. Because no one else was saying anything about it. And I was like, this is an opportunity, why not have a crack? Bit of a joke, but at the same time,
I wanted to, but there was
serious.
Always other shit going on. So I just was like, enough's enough. At that
I had numbers of the community messaging me privately that couldn't say anything. Saying thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I wanted to I was waiting for the results of that tournament that they were obviously going to bomb out of. That I was going to say something, but then I was like,
but then you could tell that their mentality is fucked. You could tell that they were not playing as well as they could be.
I don't know. That's bullshit because they got their time to prac, so there's no excuse now. But also, like when we had the Zowie Extremes LAN qual down at FBI LAN Center, I went down there and I shook hands with 34 players or some shit like that. Was it 5, 10, 15, 20?
There was 14.
Yeah, 14 players. 5 of them were not Avant. Like, they just walked straight past, came in, did a shit job and left. It's like, well, okay. I know we don't get along that well, but used to coach Sterling, etc. But, okay, no worries. You're here to do business. Every other team I spoke to, found out what was going on in their lives. Get a bit of background, get a bit of storyline.
Yeah, the good stuff that you want to do as a commentator.
Yeah. Well, as the guy that ran the quals, all that sort of stuff. Not really for my job, because obviously I haven't done any commentary this year except for IM.
Yeah.
But just to see the players, see how they're going. Yeah. As someone who used to play the game, being in their position, I always have a good chat with all the players. Obviously, my ex-teammates, Imagine, you still over there.
Yeah. Also, Ash, first Nats winner, first female Nats winner.
Yeah. Anyway, so I spoke to every team and every player except the Avant guys. So I don't know what's up with that. They're just...
Yeah, but for what
on another level,
it's for me, it was part of the whole act of that tweet was just being a bit entertaining because no one else was, everyone else was ignoring the fact that they'd asked for this extra time to get themselves
I don't
ready
understand why
in
the other
terms of
orgs
the whole
couldn't
thing.
say something.
Why
That's
do
what I don't
Why do
understand.
elephants sit in rooms
Professionalism.
anyway?
Yeah.
Why do elephants sit in rooms?
Exactly.
Mac's there to address them.
Yeah, I've got no problem. I'm happy to be embarrassed myself.
Well, like I said, I
You saw
wanted
me the
to,
other night.
but there was too much going on.
Yeah.
My phone was already melting. Yeah, I had legal aid call me. I had everyone.
Too much had been going on that week.
All these subpoenas. I can't get through the paperwork.
You'll make your way through, mate. I'm sure you'll be able to, pay your way through that one.
Just bought the firm.
Either way, cool. That's the Max mailbag for this edition.
Yep, that'll close the bag.
Yep, that'll close the bag.
Trying to think of beefs. It's pretty tough.
Still looking for beefs.
There's beefs in
He's back on the beefs.
there's beefs in casters, right? There's caster duo beefs, but they're not real beefs, and you'll never hear about them.
No, that's because they get on camera and they'll work together, and you'll never know that there was
You'll
anything
be professional at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
There's Kobe beefs.
There's
Wagyu
definitely
beefs.
there's
No
talent.
Kobayashi.
There's definitely like overseas international talent beef,
Mm.
and I think that's just also a symptom of just being stuck with people that you don't usually live with.
Imagine having to live with the people you work with.
Yeah, it's like that. 14-hour days with people you don't really care about.
Oh, there was a bit of an internal beef with the whole ESCA, ESL overscheduling conflict, which we didn't get to talk about
Is that
either.
the China thing?
No, well, the quals for Katowice were on the exact same date as MDL Global
But they moved
Finals.
those.
But they moved those.
Yeah.
They moved those to January. But then WSG also was clashing with that. Then they moved their dates to now clash with the Cato quals. There's there's a lot of
right
there's a
now.
lot of clashes going left, right, and centre.
Do you know what? I reckon we should make another podcast.
What a great
about that.
place to be to have problems.
Anyway,
like that.
the world is burning around us, and we're just happy to sit in the room and chat about it. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
I've got to say, I've transitioned from the floor to my chair to the floor to my chair, and it's been great not having the camera. So sorry, Pilly.
Yeah, sorry, Pilly. Anyway, actually, on our friend Pilly, as I was talking about before, he was palming people away in extremes, and I know that there was an instance of at the after. I know you generally it's faux pas to talk about what happens at the after party because it stays at the after party. But let me just say that he was a steadfast man. He was propositioned by a local pimp, and he kindly and politely refused, and it was hilarious. But that same pimp, I may have gone on to have success elsewhere. Don't know who though, but like, I'm not saying.
What the hell, Jim? You can't just say
what
that.
happens at these
I know,
days
you can't just say that.
There were a number of people over there, namely my son Llamas as well, which I hope you
No,
took
there were
care
none
of.
of the Australian contingent were in any trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been still barling. Alongside me has been
He just wants to host.
Oh my God, Jim, that's a huge bomb. I don't know. I do.
Anyway, find out next week
Oh,
on the Esports Social Club, not on the podcast. Gentlemen, we've gotten a little bit long in the tooth, and we said there's a lot to cover in this episode, and we're glad to be back on the circuit regularly. Gentlemen, any final closing comments from you, Sean?
no.
Okay, good. You, Mac?
Twitter are deleting a bunch of tags, so I'll probably, hopefully, try to get a new tag at some point over the holiday season.
No more Mac is
I don't
trash?
want this.
Maybe.
No, like keep this low key. If someone takes bar, because I know that's going to pop up,
Oh, no, it's
I'm
over.
going to blow an aneurysm.
Anyway, gents, you'll be finding new creative Twitter tags. We're fine over here on our end. Gentlemen, Ian?
yeah, I got nothing. Just cheers to everyone supporting the show.
Yeah, cheers for this continued support of the show.
Hope you
Season
enjoyed the
2.
comeback.
This is the return tour. Obviously, this season we're hoping to get a few more guests on as well. We've got we know a lot of people have reached out, want to get on. Make some time, get in Sydney. We will record a podcast with you. I know some of the org representatives want to get on and have a chat as well. Always great to get their perspective. But we thank you for your time listening. And as we said, this has been Esports Social Club. We'll see you next time.